In terms of the signals chat controversy that's going on, is DOJ involved at this point? If so, why? If not, why not?
Well, first, it was sensitive information, not classified, and inadvertently released. And what we should be talking about is it was a very successful mission. Our world is now safer because of that mission. We're not going to comment any further on that. If you want to talk about classified information, talk about what was at Hillary Clinton's home that she was trying to bleach bit. Talk about the classified documents in Joe Biden's garage that Hunter Biden had access to. This was not classified information. And we are very pleased with the results of that operation and that the entire world is safer because of it.
That's Trump's Attorney General Pam Bondi making it abundantly clear that she intends to do absolutely nothing about the massive security breach that was our top security officials deciding to plan out war on an unsecured commercial app with a journalist who they accidentally invited lurking in the background. But here's what I find so interesting. She uses the opportunity to, of course, attack Hillary Clinton. Now, the whataboutism would be disqualifying enough unto itself. Like, I have a hard time trying to wrap my head around the notion that the top law enforcement official in the United States wouldn't be willing to investigate a crime because she's salty that someone unrelated to this crime also did something bad? I'm sorry, but what? Your job isn't to do whataboutism that a decade ago a Democrat did something you didn't like. It is to investigate and prosecute crimes that occur right now. If you want to bitch and moan about politics, and specifically Hillary Clinton, run for Congress, link up with Marjorie Taylor Greene, maybe start a podcast. But your job is to prosecute crimes, yes, even if it's from members of your own party. In fact, it's not like that's without precedent. Merrick Garland's own Department of Justice prosecuted Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, prosecuted Democratic lawmaker Henry Cuellar, prosecuted the president, Joe Biden's own son Hunter, and in fact refused to prosecute Republican Matt Gaetz for alleged sex trafficking that was so serious, even the Republican-led House Ethics Committee refused to stop their own investigation. An investigation whose findings caused Matt Gaetz himself to resign from Congress in an effort to prevent that report from coming out. All of which is to say, there is clearly precedent for an attorney general to investigate members of their own party, to be hostile to members of their own party, even if they have to bend over backwards against their own party, give deference to the other party. That's how hostile members of the DOJ have been against their own party. But of course, that would require even a shred of integrity, and well, that's where we lose Pam Bondi. And for those saying that what the Trump security team did wasn't a crime, and so there's no basis to investigate, here's Jamie Raskin debunking that claim.
Did this group chat break the law?
Almost certainly it did, and it reflects a general sloppiness and negligence in the whole approach of the administration as they've gotten started here. They've been struck down more than 40 different times by federal courts with temporary restraining orders or preliminary injunctions because they've acted in such a cavalier disregard of what the rule of law requires. And this example you're pointing to, Casey, obviously is with respect to operational implementation of some plans. But if you look at what the underlying plan was, it's Congress that declares war on Venezuela or on Yemen. It's not the President of the United States. So it's both this tremendous operational negligence and sloppiness that has been shown, but also the idea that they act in complete defiance of what the Constitution says and what the rule of law stands for.
And so back to my point, the whataboutism would be disqualifying enough here. But while Pam Bondi whines about Hillary Clinton, it is worth noting that what happened here was worse than what Hillary Clinton did. The FBI determined that Clinton's server did not contain any information or emails that were clearly marked classified. But the notion that what we saw from this group chat wasn't classified is an absolute farce. We are talking about literal war plans for an imminent attack that ended up bearing itself out. And don't take my word for it, take that of national security expert Ned Price, who served in both the CIA and the State Department, speaking here.
They are lying. They knew this was classified, and they're trying to cover it up at this very moment. When you talk about pending military operations, tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTP as they're called, that is by definition classified information. So it is hard to imagine that the substance that they were communicating was not classified at the time. Now, the other possibility, and this is what they may be resting their case on, is a distortion of the most technicality there is. in that a senior U.S. government official, whether it's the president, vice president, in some cases the secretary of defense or CIA director, can retroactively declassify information. And so it may well be that they are saying now, after the fact that they know Jeffrey Goldberg was in there, we're going to go ahead and declassify this. They sort of waved their magic classification wand, declassified it. And so they're telling the American public, this is not classified. What they're not saying is that it should have been classified, and they're only declassifying it, if that's in fact what they are doing, to save their own skin.
So as far as Pam Bondi is concerned, what she is effectively saying right now is that so long as a Republican commits a crime, then it's totally fine. No investigation, no prosecutions, law and order for thee, none for me. And in case you were wondering how insane that is, she is positioning herself as even more lawless than Republican senators who themselves are under Donald Trump's thumb. And yet even they can bring themselves to say stuff like this.
I can't see any rationale for the kind of conversation that took place over Signal for not taking place in a more secure manner than that.
I think that bears an investigation to see when and how it's being used.
They thought it was safe, and they had a discussion. And I think they made some mistakes in that regard.
Whether it's considered, quote, classified or just highly sensitive, it was too detailed. Whether you can call it a war plan or not, it's just too detailed to pretend that wasn't a big deal.
I'm worried about everybody and how they have handled this Signal controversy.
Hexeth had all those battle plans he discussed, and
Does it concern me? Hell yes.
Imagine being the top law enforcement official in America and actively choosing to be more lawless, to kowtow even harder than even the most groveling MAGA sycophants in the U.S. Senate. And what's worse, it's not even like Pam Bondi is underperforming expectations. She is meeting them. Everybody is so aware of exactly how partisan, how unqualified, how diametrically opposed to her mission she is, that the fact that she won't investigate anybody in Trump world isn't the exception here, it's the rule. So look, if you're a Republican or an independent or hell, even a Democrat who thought that Hillary Clinton was wrong to be careless with the information she was handling, then what Pam Bondi is saying here is that not only does she recognize how bad Clinton's behavior was, she herself invoked Clinton in the initial clip of this video, but that she is content to do the exact same thing. She is taking the thing that Republicans have harped on for the last decade, the thing that they themselves claimed was disqualifying at best and criminal at worst, and telling you that not only are they that bad, they're worse, considering we're dealing with actual classified information here. If you ever thought these people gave a shit about keeping Americans safe, disabuse yourself of that notion. The last decade was nothing more than an act that the GOP used to burnish their credentials. All of the pearl clutching and fainting spells were them mocking you, tricking you into thinking that they actually cared. They don't. It was theater where they used your outrage as a ladder for their own ambition. They are laughing at how gullible you are. Now you have the chance to fight back. And look, it doesn't make you a communist Marxist leftist to push back against what this administration is doing. It makes you a patriot. Before you go, first, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we're now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they're willing to cater to this White House. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a great way for me to be able to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's completely free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support my work. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.